Hello, my sweet children. It is an honor to be here with you today. Back in some time, I was called the Virgin Queen. I want to start by quoting the inscription about my life. I do not want a husband who honors me as a queen, if he does not love me as a woman. That is why I have not been married. I was afraid of losing my autonomy as queen. In the 16th century, a sovereign was regarded as holding supreme dominion over the state, while a husband was deemed to hold supreme dominion over his wife. I knew that marriage and motherhood would bring erosion of my royal power. I was born in 1533 at Greenwich Palace in England. When I was 2.5 years old, my mom, Anne Boleyn, my father's second wife, was executed, and I was declared an illegitimate heir to the throne. My brother Edward VI ruled until 1553, bequeathing the crown to Lady Jane Grey and ignoring the claims of his two half-sisters, Roman Catholic Mary, and myself, in spite of statute law to the contrary. However, Edward's will was set aside and Mary became queen. In 1558, I succeeded my half-sister to the throne and set out to rule by good counsel. One of my biggest and well-known battles during my time is the something Armada. One of the reasons for the fight was that King Philip of Spain had asked to marry me. I said no, because I was afraid he would take away my rule. I was also afraid that he would turn England into a Catholic country, and he hated that it was a Protestant one. The word is Protestant country. I refused to marry him, and we became enemies. It was arguably my finest hour. For years, I had been hailed as the English Deborah, the savior of English people, and now it seemed that what I had really become was Bellona, the goddess of war. In triumph, I had led her people to glory, defeating the greatest power of the 16th century world. I supported something and cared about the people of my country. At this time in England, there was not enough food to feed everyone. Many poor people starved to death. I made the rich pay more taxes so that I had more money to help feed the poor and build workhouses and places for them to live. While I was queen, I was not focused on conquering other countries, but on trade and exploring. I recognized that trade was very important to my country. I encouraged merchants to find new lands and markets for our goods. During my reign, English merchants began to trade in the Americas and to new areas of Africa and Asia. England was also famous for its explorers. I paid for many new voyages to find new land. The most famous Elizabethan explorer was Francis Drake. He sailed all the way around the world in his ship to find something. After he sailed back home to England, I made him a knight and gave him the name you know, Sir Francis Drake. The Elizabethan period was an important period for the development of British culture. Literature, especially poetry and drama, entered a golden age. Britain's inspection of other continents, especially the study of the Americas, had entered a new phase. Like my father, I was educated and learned writing and languages. I translated Horace's Art of Poetry personally, and some of my earlier speeches and academic translations have been circulating even to this current day. During my reign, a large number of great writers such as Shakespeare, Spenser, and Francis Bacon emerged and were known as the Renaissance in England. If I were still alive today, I would be so proud of the women's movements. I have heard a strong speech by Emma Watson, which is about women's rights. I am so happy to hear that women can fight for their own rights, and I believe women are so powerful that they can lead a world.